So a quick introduction to ourselves. I'll just go first, Craig, since I'm up first on the slide. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for coming today. It's really good to see high numbers. I'm pretty sure there'll be lots of people in the crowd that me and Craig have spoke to at some point in the years that we've been part of Symetri. But as you can see, I'm a manufacturing consultant for the MFG team, and I've been working with Symetri now for, it'll be 10 years in January. Quick 10 years, Craig.
It will, yeah. So my name's Craig, and I look after the support and training for the Autodesk product range and manufacturing in particular. I've been here a little bit longer than Cheryl, so I've been here 25 years. Just celebrated me silver anniversary. So yeah, I've seen it, been there, done that, seen everything really.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, if anyone's but just before we go any further as well, if there's any questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll try to get to them. But Craig's going to ask some questions throughout the session as well. So as we're presenting, Craig's going to kind of be the person who's in your shoes, asking questions around, you know, how the process that we're going to be speaking about could work for you, and hopefully it'll capture some of the questions that you might ask. Are we good to go, Craig?
Yeah.
Okay, doke. So as Tim announced on the first session, Autodesk announced AI at AU this year. And it's something that seems a bit alien, but possibly it is a process that you have been using already. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, again, a point that Tim made was that it's all about data. So it's the interaction of intelligent data that comes into the system so that we can then start to think about automating from that. So the headline of this presentation is automation powered by AI, and especially from that data that Tim talked about. So I'm just going to show a quick video just to give you an idea of exactly how Autodesk played it at AU.
AI. It's changing the way we make everything, even my voice. I'm not human. But AI isn't just for fun stuff, like outsourcing your term paper or auto-correcting your text, or to see what you look like with whiskers. Anyway, at Autodesk, AI is artificial intelligence that can solve real-world problems. Autodesk AI gives you the tools to supercharge your process. It augments your creativity. It takes repetitive tasks and automates them. And analyzes data to give you smart, practical insights. Together, we'll unlock potential that will change everything.
Okay, so we'll come back to the slides. So this is just the talking points that myself and Craig are going to go over today. So we've got about 45 minutes in this session. We might not take up the whole time, but we'll try and answer some questions. Like I said, Craig's going to ask some questions through each of the talking points. So these are the main areas that Wazim, Tim and Shivani have picked up on. Obviously, there's going to be other sessions today, guys, so there will be sessions about sustainability specifically. So please stick around for those sessions as well. So hopefully myself and Craig will be able to give you as much information about some of the things that you can see on the screen just now. So this is just a quick inspirational quote that I picked up. You might have seen it online before, but it's an interesting kind of a theory, an interesting thought process if you think about it like that. So clearly the things that's transforming is not the technology, it's the technology that is transforming you. So we think about how much technology has changed over the years. If you've been, you know, working in design and engineering, construction, architectural, we are as humans only progressing forward as the technology progresses forward. So when we talk about automation and AI, we're thinking about the future. We're thinking about how we can make those tedious processes that we do daily, how we can make them more sustainable, more productive with things like automation and AI.
It's definitely a lot different from how I started with big bits of paper and six different pencils. But yeah, it's exciting how it's coming, and you know what is coming next. That I find that very exciting.
Definitely, Craig. Those days when you had your pencil behind your ear and you were still looking for your pencil.
Yeah.
So one of the main things that Tim spoke about was data, and obviously having that central kind of a unified data in the cloud is something that Autodesk have been talking about throughout the whole time at AU. And also when the guys, I think it was Tim specifically, who spoke about the Autodesk platforms, and these were introduced in 2022 at Autodesk University in 2022, and this is even more expansion this year. So Autodesk are obviously still moving forward with Fusion, Forma and Flow, and they're really pushing forward with the Autodesk platform. So the first kind of a thing that came up quite often from trends out of AU was this industry cloud, and the industry cloud collections. So that would be your Flow, Forma and Fusion. Together there's 3 of them, and like we mentioned, they're unified workflows that allow you to automate processes. So it's not just about working in manufacturing, and there might be a lot of people on the webinar today that have had to interact with, say, construction, architectural, and obviously what we want to do is make sure that the data that we're using throughout is in a secure, trusted ecosystem that's flexible and open, and something that we can, you know, access quickly and digitally wherever we are on the go, depending on if we're on the shop floor, we're in the office space, we're on site, you know, we're with a customer.
So Cheryl, we've talked a bit here about the Fusion Industry Cloud. So are all the different things that we're going to talk about today, are they all built inside of Fusion 360, or is it like lots of different products?
It's lots of different products. So it's products that the guys on the webinar have maybe already used before. So it could be Inventor, do you know, it could be Factory Design Suite, it could be Fusion. Do you know, that's the manufacturing, but it also could be Revit. So if you're doing construction or you're doing architectural stuff, and it's all about integrating all that data together using these industry clouds with these customized workflows.
Right, okay.
So one thing that they did introduce into Fusion 360 just in their last release, obviously throughout this presentation, me and Craig will give you more information about Fusion in general, but for anyone who's never dipped their toe into the Fusion platform, it's probably a fantastic time for you to just ask us questions about where you want to go, the future of the product, how you get involved with it, because now they're integrating things like configurations, and configurations are our ability to create variations of our design. So if you're creating a product, it comes in different sizes, it comes in different materials, it comes with lots of different customization that your customer wants you to perform and push into your designs. So that's where Autodesk are now introducing configurations into Fusion 360.
So if we relate this to something that most of us use here, like Inventor, would configurations sort of have a comparable feature in Inventor?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Craig, that's a good one actually, because obviously iLogic, if anyone's ever used iLogic before, you'll know that being able to use iLogic is at the heart of automation. So to be able to automate creating those customization, when your customer comes to you, they want customization, you would use iLogic built inside Inventor, and that's still very valid, that workflow. But now that Fusion 360 has that capability as well, it's just giving you more of an expansion in different areas. So it could be that you use configurations in the concept.
So not everybody uses iLogic. I mean, most people should, but you know, not everybody uses iLogic. could we sort of relate this to sort of eye parts and eye assemblies and possibly even model states?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the exact thing. Everything that starts with an I in Inventor is built into these types of configurations. So when we use configurations inside Fusion, we can use them with drawings, we can use them with the machining, the CAM side as well. So if we added the toolpaths, we can do it in there. We can do it inside the drawing environment as well. So all these configurations are integrated. Simulation as well, as you can see on the screen. So the types of things that we can configure are very similar again to iParts, iAssemblies and iLogic. So things like parameters, features, suppression, visibility, the material appearance, even sheet metal and plastic. Again, if you're new to Fusion 360, there are sheet metal and plastic environments within Fusion. And also, most importantly, our properties, because we use them to drive into all of the different environments within Fusion.
I think we've got a video to show around this now, haven't we?
Yeah, so I'm going to quickly show you the configurations. This is quite a longer video, guys, but hang on because it's a very good video.
In our ever-advancing digital era, professionals have been on a continuous quest to amplify productivity and enhance product quality. Autodesk's Fusion stands as a beacon of innovation, merging CAD, CAM, and CAE tools under one cloud-based umbrella. Now, it's taking a giant leap forward with its new configurations functionality. Configurations provide an intelligent way to use your designs by enabling you to create and manage multiple design variations from a single unified model. From automotive design trim levels to medical devices based on specific criteria to the consumer product sector looking to iterate on multiple product offerings in a single manufacturing cycle, configurations offer the kind of design adaptability you've always needed but never had. This feature will undergo a phased release. We want to make this functionality rapidly accessible to every customer, given its potential to significantly enhance numerous workflows. By adopting a staggered approach, we aim to seamlessly integrate this powerful feature into the Fusion ecosystem. So what does this functionality mean for you as a user? It means you no longer have to clone models or create entirely new files for each design variant. Instead, you can now develop a single configured design, a new document type within Fusion 360 that houses a configuration table. This table enables you to define and manage multiple configurations that coexist in the same document. Once in the design workspace, you'll notice a new configure panel on the command interface. You can either convert an existing design into a configured design or start a new configured design. In the data panel, you can view the design's version history both prior to and after its transformation into a configured design. After doing so, you'll have access to the configurations table, where each row represents a different variant of your design. What can you actually configure? Well, actually almost anything. In Fusion, configurable aspects are highlighted in blue within the browser and timeline. These could range from feature parameters and component visibility to material types, appearances, and even some complex rule-based parameters. A simple click on a highlighted feature or object shows its list of configurable aspects. Check the ones you want, and they'll be added as columns in the configuration table, ready for you to edit. When dealing with multiple aspects that are similar, you can group them into custom theme tables. This feature is handy for minimizing the overall complexity of your main configuration table and allows you to author configurations more efficiently. Each configuration can also now have its own unique part number and description, set in the Properties tab of the configuration table. The power of configurations doesn't stop at the design phase. Once you've created your configurations, they become part and parcel of workflows across the entire Fusion ecosystem. Whether you're working on a render, animation, simulation, or manufacturing strategy, configurations can be inserted, derived, or otherwise used to adapt to various work environments. For those dealing with more complex assemblies, Fusion allows configurable assemblies, which is essentially a configuration within a configuration. This is a powerful feature for anyone working on multi-component projects, as it enables you to insert a configured component into another design and further configure its features. Sharing a configured assembly design does require granting project access to your collaborators. For the manufacturing workspace, configurations are nothing short of a game changer. Imagine not having to read toolpath every time a minor change occurs in your design. With configurations, you can update your CAM workflows instantaneously with a single click, allowing you to pivot or scale production runs efficiently. Switching active configurations lets you generate different toolpaths for each variant, all within the same configured design file. In a world where the competitive edge is often measured in how quickly and efficiently you can bring a product to market, Fusion's configurations offer a genuinely transformative solution. It redefines how products are designed and made, presenting a cohesive, integrated approach that can be immediately deployed across various workflows. If you want to enhance productivity, reduce costs, and remain ahead in a fast-paced market, configurations in Fusion is the game-changing feature that you've been waiting for. We plan on continuously improving the scope, features, and capabilities of configurations in Fusion, and your feedback will help us prioritize our efforts. Welcome to the future of design and manufacturing.
Very big topic, I think, that one. I think the thing to remember here with the difference between sort of Inventor and Fusion, where with Inventor, if you do an iPart, it's a part. An iAssembly is just one assembly. If you do a similar thing inside of Fusion, it goes like from the full process, from design to make, and that could make people's lives a lot easier. Even changing renders and things like that, it's it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think you're right, Craig. Definitely, you hit the spot there with that. I think it's just being able to even file distribution, file data. Like Tim was saying, obviously the data needs to be clean. It can be, we're working in designs, their interaction, it's a completely different workflow, but it's also fully collaborative. It's actually quite interesting. Nice one. So the next thing we're going to just discuss is documentation, decreasing that time that we take whenever we create drawings within the environment. Obviously, for engineering and manufacturing, we still need drawings. We still need them at a very high level. But Autodesk have now, as we mentioned, the introduction of configurations means that it's now creeping into what Autodesk have announced at AU is automated drawings. So again, it's not available just now in the Fusion application, but it will be available by the end of this year, and it will be available for you to preview as users. But the ability to be able to automate drawings, and I know Craig mentioned this earlier on, we do have customers out there that are using iLogic, and the process that they take to automate drawings is exhausting. It's also a process that can be, that can be quite tedious, even when you do have the automated iLogic rules. But now that Autodesk are introducing this within Fusion, it could be, again, another game changer. So we're hoping to be able to enhance the experience of drawings within Fusion, which has already been updated significantly this year specifically. So for anyone who is using Fusion just now, or anyone who wants to use Fusion, then the drawing environment has changed, and it's become more attuned to an engineering environment.
Yeah, I think that's a question that I get asked quite a lot. If people who've used Fusion maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they said, yeah, the design bit's quite good, but the drawings are not anywhere near as good as they are in Inventor. So do you think now that we can say that the drawings in Fusion are as good as they are inside of Inventor?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that you can do. I mean, obviously, the one thing that it doesn't have that maybe some customers might want to still do is an extensive parts list. But let's be honest, we should be really moving away from having an extensive parts list on the drawings anyway. I remember from being in engineering, there used to be 2 pages just for a bill of materials. which to be fair is quite insane, especially when we've got these data management systems where we can get the information out as a, you know, a spreadsheet or something like that. So there's no need to have these exhausting drawings. And therefore, what Fusion does do is it shows you how fresh and simple the process could be with a lighter drawing with less information. Do you know, if you go to the guys on the workshop floor and you ask them, do you know, do you read my G&T, like geometric tolerancing? 9 times out of 10 they won't read all the information because it's so extensive. So I think what Fusion does for me is it puts a bit of a flip side on it, where we can have these fresh, undetailed drawings, but you can still have your you know, your views, your section views, all that kind of stuff, your balloons. They can be outline changes, thickness changes, you know, everything's there.
Yeah.
It's just at a lighter version.
So you mentioned there, and the guy in the video mentioned it as well, that you know, this is going to be introduced in the configurations bit, is going to be mentioned, brought in phases, and you mentioned the drawings bit isn't available until the end of the year. Like,
yeah,
how am I supposed to keep up with that? You know, I haven't got time to read lots of documentation and that sort of stuff. I like to sort of just get in and do it. So what do I do?
Yeah, I mean, great question, Craig. Obviously, a lot of people ask that question as well. So Autodesk introduced what we call the Insider program. So the Insider program is basically, it used to only really be available for partners of the Autodesk products, but now they've opened it up and everyone can be part of the Insider program. And what it does is it gives you the ability to install a pre-production version of the software, where you can preview a lot of different features that are coming up, but also you'll know what's coming out in the next version, and so you'll know whether to update or not. So now Fusion does have an integrated update system where you can choose to update on the date of the date of the latest version release, yeah. Or you can say, right, well, I don't want to do it just now, I can do it later. So you have that option within the software.
I mean, it's always been a big problem with Inventor. So you know when the hot fixes come out, and you know the point releases come out, you know, I've got to make sure that I update and everything from the Autodesk Access account, and then I've got to make sure that everybody else in the office is using the same version, because then they couldn't open my files and all that sort of stuff. Have I got to do that with Fusion as well?
No, I mean, with Fusion, it's all kind of a collaborated into Fusion team. So you don't need to kind of you don't need to do that. So
so the program updates itself, is that, you know, do I have to download things? And
oh no, you don't need to. All right, I get you. Sorry, I was miles away there. That's my fault. When you install the product and the product opens and the update's there, it'll tell you in the corner it's there, and then you pick and choose whether you want to update it or not.
Right. Okay. So I don't have to go away and look for it.
You don't have to look for it. You don't have to. The other thing, so you don't even need to get IT involved at that level, unless, you know, if you've got locked down, if your computer's completely locked down and you need IT, it won't show up anyway. So IT can restrict it, and then when they want to run it, they can do it as a global run out. But if they want to allow people to do it individually, as soon as you open the application, it's there to download. You don't need to go looking for it. You don't need to, you know, install anything, download anything, or anything like that. It's all in the software.
Ah, great.
Okay, so Craig, your famous question has already came through in the chat.
Has it really?
Yes.
We'll leave that one to the end, right? The elephant in the room. Yeah, we'll leave the elephant in the room till the end of the presentation.
Okay, we're leaving the elephant in the room. So just to let you know, Elaine, that we are going to answer that question from the customer. I don't know who it is that's asked the question. Let me just double check actually. I think it's Elizabeth asked the question, so we will get to that elephant in the room. Okay. All right, back to the presentation. So the next thing we're going to look at is something that, again, Craig, you're not completely familiar with, but
no.
If you had a choice,
I'm not good at. You know, I'm a draftsman at heart. I've tried doing the tool paths and things like that, and I've got there eventually, but I've always found it very, very difficult. You know, it's not the way that my brain works. So is there any help available to, you know, help me along creating toolpaths and that?
Well, the number one obvious thing is obviously us. We are here to help. And obviously, I've been working a long time now with the CAM side of Fusion, the manufacturing side of Fusion, and it really is tip top. It's one of our most selling training courses. You know, we sell a lot of milling training courses for Fusion. But the good thing about it is Autodesk have now partnered with a company which is called Cloud NC. And for people like yourself, Craig, who maybe don't really know too much about CNC, that they maybe want to just add a bit of automated generation of the toolpaths into their workflow, then Cloud NC is an exciting new kind of a partnership that Autodesk have made. And they have created a CAM Assist tool which can be downloaded. So if anyone wants to download it and use it, it will allow you to get to the stage where you're just about to add the toolpaths. So you've got your design set up, you're going to add the toolpaths, and then you're ready to generate the toolpath. But what it basically does is it automates the process of toolpath creation. But I'll let you see that yourself in the video. So I'm just going to show you the video so you can get an idea of how that looks from the guys at Cloud NC. Now that was an exciting video, Craig.
It was. It was.
Exciting for me. So yeah, if you want a free trial of that one, guys, head to their website and have a look. But if you've got any questions, then we can answer those as well. So on to the next slide. Craig, do you have another question there?
No.
No.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a wee bit about conceptual design, and we know that obviously Fusion does have a lot of conceptual design within it as well, but we're talking at a different level of conceptual design. This would be like generation of concepts. So if you've been working with Fusion for a while, or maybe you haven't even started using with Fusion, you might already have heard of generative design. So Autodesk introduced generative design a while ago, but it's not just for manufacturing. Sorry, Craig.
I think Cheryl's losing a volume there, so many apologies for that. Are you back, Cheryl?
Oh, am I back? Sorry.
You are, yeah, carry on.
My signal didn't go down or anything like that there, it was weird. Can you still hear me?
You can carry on now. Yeah, I can still hear you.
Yeah, good. Just let me know if it happens again, Craig.
I will. Well, I'll just take over. One or two.
Oh, right, okay, because I'm getting feedback from you as well, so I don't know if the crowd are.
Right, okay. So,
It just seems to have got a wee bit slower. Can you hear me?
yeah, we'll carry
Yeah.
on.
No worries about it. So, obviously, Craig, this is a subject that we know very well because we get asked about it quite often.
Yeah. I mean, in my head, generative design is probably the most impressive thing that I've seen from Autodesk in 25 years. It really is. Now, everything that we've seen, all the videos that you see and all that, it's always about sort of product design and designing chairs and even a bridge, which you'll see, is in all the videos. But is it only for product design, or can we use it in other sort of industries as well?
No, I think the guys in architecture are starting to use it for things like it can be used for interior. It can be used to make your interior look quite aesthetic. So again, it does come out with these quite odd shapes, but again, as humans, we're just so used to everything being symmetrical. But the structural shape properties and everything from the material are still there. It's just that obviously it's a bit different. So for the guys that are creating architectural fixtures, things like that, it can be used for lots of different disciplines. It doesn't need to necessarily just be for manufacturing.
So, I mean, one industry that I would think this would sort of really suit, I'm a petrol head. I love me sort of curvy designs and things like that, rather than the Nissan Cube, if anybody's got one of them. Sorry. I think this just sort of lends itself to sort of designing cars and that. Can we go further on that or not?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of customers that, I mean, you'll see the Volkswagen as well. You'll see Volkswagen, BAC, Ford are using it. You've also got companies like what was the other one again? Was it Bowen or something like that are using it for internal flight structures and things like that as well.
No, it was
So
Airbus.
yeah, was it Airbus? Sorry,
yeah.
that's my bad. But yeah, I mean, it's been in the product for a while. It's been tested numerously, like with lots of different customers. But it's the heart of AI. It was the very first artificial intelligence kind of a thing that they put into Fusion that allowed customers to be able to enhance their product by integrating material, cost, and machining. So you can look at it in different machining techniques as well. So
I think that leads us nicely into the next slide, though, doesn't it?
Yep. So Autodesk have now partnered with Blank AI, and they're looking at now a workflow which incorporates in conceptual design in the same kind of a principle as generative. So what you're basically doing is taking the alias and VRED designs that you've got, but creating what we call like a library of lots of different concepts of car design. So the industry for automotive at the moment is quite high, and obviously they're looking for tools to become automated, and obviously they're trying to use AI as much as possible. So that's why Autodesk have seen this as an opportunity to create these like editable 3D models that are customizable, but also part of a library. So allowing you to go in and use Blank AI to have like a drop down of all these different styles of design in automotive.
Right. Okay. Now, something that both Wazim and Tim mentioned earlier, whether it's pronounced cadence or cadence, I'm not really sure on that. That's very interesting to me, because one area of inventor that I've always found disappointing is the electric side, or the electronic side. So what does this cadence, so what does this do? Is it is that going to sort of reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, I mean, we've always had this kind of a mechanical electrical kind of a or electronics in this case. It's not electrical, sorry.
Yeah.
It's electronics. So the mechanical electronics area of Fusion has been around for a while, so the PCB board design and things like that. But for Cadence, I think Cadence are a large corporation that have been ahead of the game for a long time. So this relationship with Autodesk is significant as well, to be able to increase the capability within Fusion, to be able to have that remote collaboration between the PCB design with the mechanical design, and then having that customization between both as well, giving you kind of the prototyping firsthand, being able to see the design, automate the process, and obviously save time for any problems down the line, allowing you to obviously save cost, and it's more efficient with, like I said, that seamless kind of between mechanical and electronic. So yeah, it's just an expansion.
From day into production, as it is in your slide.
Oh, really?
Well,
wow.
Yeah, I'll let you off for that one. Now right, so there's a few things here that we saw in Fusion 360 that is quite impressive. So the generative design side is very good. The PCB side is 100 times better than what you can do with it in Inventor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but I don't get how that works. So do I design bits in Fusion and then leave them there and then design bits in Inventor? Or can we sort of put them all together?
Yeah, you can. I mean, there is a connection between Inventor and Fusion. For anyone who didn't know that already, the desktop connector can be used between the two products. That's why Autodesk want them to be in one product design and manufacturing collection, because Inventor does have its strengths, and then so does Fusion.
Right. So what we're saying here really is that you use Inventor for the bits that Inventor is good at, and use Fusion for the bits that Fusion is good at, but then link them all together as well. So you'd have your full assembly, Inventor assembly at the end. Yeah, so in Inventor now you'll have a ribbon in Inventor, which will then give you access to all the Fusion tools like simulation, additive manufacturing, subtractive manufacturing, all the types of things that you can take and use generative design. So if you want to use generative design but you've started in Inventor, then you can just use the icon. It will take you directly into Fusion. Now, one of the elephants in the room, this probably isn't the big elephant in the room, which we will talk about soon. But if I do that, if I use Inventor as my sort of main tool, bring in the Fusion files that I want to use, we always tell customers to use Vault. So can I put everything into the Vault from there or not? I mean, there is a link to put the data into the Vault. It's not the same link as Inventor, so it's not like a completely connected workflow, because obviously, just to remind people that Fusion is a cloud application and Inventor is a desktop application, but we can save the data into the Vault at that iteration, but there is ways that we can do it. I mean, obviously, we've got a large team that help us with the connection. We do Fusion Manage as well from the guys at D2M3, but that side of the data management side inside Fusion has grown rapidly. Yeah. Okay, so the last kind of a subject that we're going to go over is about factory in terms of planning, design and build. So can I just interrupt you there, Cheryl? Sorry. Yeah, of course. In my opinion, the factory side of product design and manufacturing collection is the most underused bit of the full collection. Now, how many customers out there design and make something within the same organization? Now, if you've got a factory on site or a small workshop or whatever, and you make something, you should be using the factory utilities inside a collection. So that's just like a sort of a shout out to everybody there. If you've never looked at factory and you make something, have a look at factory. You've already got it. It doesn't cost you anything. But it could revolutionize how things work within your organization. Yeah, and again, it's all about that connected workflow. It's everything that Wazim and Tim mentioned about bringing back that information back from AU. It's all about Autodesk trying to connect all of these different disciplines together. And ProdSmart was introduced as one of the softwares in the portfolio. I think it was last year, maybe the year before that. And it's an MES system, manufacturing execution system.
and it's real-time data. It's about, you know, if you're working in the factory, you want to know what's happening at certain stages. You want to know where the material's coming in and going out of. Like you said, Craig, there was elements of the factory design workflow. Process analysis was there at one point, but I see this as a better version of that to collaborate with more data. But it's
the process analysis was, you know, it was problematic, but you know, this looks a lot better.
Yeah, it's more of an MES system. I mean, process analysis was very light at what it did. It maximizes the productivity and the performance moving forward. But I've got a quick video for the guys to have a look at. So
all right,
let's just take a look at this one last video.
Manufacturing is fast changing, and staying competitive requires that the production process runs smoothly, efficiently, and on schedule. Whether you're a manufacturing engineer, production manager, or production planner, ProdSmart can help you take your production planning to the next level. Having an accurate, robust production schedule is foundational for success in manufacturing. Without modern tools, your production planners are likely spending their time worried about balancing production demands with staffing resources, lack of visibility into real-time production data, and a limited ability to track and monitor production issues. This can all lead to unexpected stoppages, drops in productivity, and ultimately lost revenue. With ProdSmart, you can begin to quickly pinpoint why these issues may be occurring, having better visibility into exactly what is happening on the shop floor, without actually having to physically go out to the shop floor, allowing you to pursue next-level production capabilities such as lights-out manufacturing. Your people, machines, and raw materials all factor into what your capacity is to produce any given product. Without having detailed real-time information on each of those key variables, your ability to estimate production capacity is limited and constrains your growth potential. Are your paper forms and spreadsheets able to take into account equipment maintenance and repair downtime, or analyze and plan equipment placement and space requirements? ProdSmart digitizes this process, helping manufacturing engineers and production managers alike stay on top of capacity metrics and easily be able to report out this information as the need arises. With so many data points affecting your ability to execute to plan, you need tools that can quickly and visually identify bottlenecks and help make better decisions faster. ProdSmart can enable you to gather reliable data, visuals, and reports on demand, helping improve cross-department communication, achieve manufacturing goals, and track production KPIs. As you can see, ProdSmart can help increase manufacturing throughput, optimize your resource planning, and improve manufacturing flexibility. Get started today and realize your goals of tomorrow.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to take a look at is just the acquisition or partnership. I can't remember if it's an acquisition or a partnership.
Acquisition.
An acquisition of FlexSim. So for anyone who hasn't heard of FlexSim before, it's factory simulation. And again, as Craig mentioned, the factory design tools are probably underutilised at certain stages, but this is going to be a more flexible process. These guys have got their own website, so if you want to go and have a quick look at the capability, I don't have a video on this one, but there is a lot of information on the website. But it's based around that layout of the design, the automation of the factory design with operational data, thinking about those downstream effects, and it's a fully integrated and connected environment, and that's what we've been kind of discussing.
So is this realistically the digital twin that we all hear about, and not many people understand what that means?
Yeah, so Tim Ray mentioned it earlier on as well. We talked about this digital twin, and it's becoming another kind of a set of buzzwords that we hear quite often, but it is very significant for anyone who does factory design or redesign. The data can be very large. You know, if you're building inside Inventor, it can be tedious. But what we want is these light-hearted, like more light versions of the files, so that we can simulate and see bottlenecks quicker. And I'm hoping to see that out the back of even Fusion at some point.
Okay. So
do you want to address the elephant?
Yeah, we'll address the elephant in the room. Me and Cheryl had a conversation yesterday around whether we would get asked this question within about 30 seconds of it starting, or maybe within a minute. The elephant in the room, for obviously you can't all see the question, so the question that we knew that we would be asked is, so when does Fusion take over from Inventor? But you know, we knew we were going to ask that question. Now, to sort of address that, I'll sort of tell a story. So as I mentioned earlier, I've been here a very long time, and when I started, Autodesk had AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT. That's what Autodesk made. And then obviously Inventor came around, and the question I asked 22 years ago or something was, and I asked directly to Autodesk is, okay, so when does AutoCAD disappear? And they told me then that it wouldn't. I didn't believe them, but 20 odd years later, AutoCAD is still there, and a lot of people are still using AutoCAD. So that sort of, I think there'll be the same process with Inventor. Inventor will still be there in 20 years' time. You know, you'll still get new releases every single year. And what I think the way to use it, and I think this will happen more and more as people sort of embrace Fusion, is they'll use both Fusion and Inventor, and they'll use Fusion for the bits that that Fusion's good at. They'll use Inventor for the bits that Inventor's good at. Because, you know, let's be honest, if you're going to do a P&ID or an electrical schematic, you're not going to do that in Inventor, you're going to do it in AutoCAD. So that's why AutoCAD's still there, because there's still things that it's better at. And yeah. I think Inventor will always be the same with that. It'll always be there. I mean, don't quote me that, and please don't sue me if it does disappear, but I do think Inventor will always be there. It'll sit alongside Fusion, and you'll use the bits that you want to use.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, Craig, is as obviously Tim and Wazim talked about in the beginning, it's about the connected workflow, it's about the data that we use, it's about using the right tools within the toolkit that we've got, using Inventor for what we need to, using Fusion for what we need to, but it's really an important time for you, all of you, to start to look at Fusion and to find out what it can do for you. I mean, we've been pushing Fusion for a long time. We've got a lot of experience with it, and we know where it's good and we know where it's bad, and we'll always steer you. We'll always steer you through. So,
one thing to mention about Fusion there, if there's anybody out there who's got ties with colleges, schools, universities, we can help with like teaching the next generation. So Autodesk are funding training for any school, any university, any college that are using Fusion. You know, we can provide training from, you know, from starting Fusion, from even downloading it, all the way up to milling and turning, and that is fully funded for an educational establishment. So if anybody out there has got any sort of close ties with that, please let us know, and we can sort of reach out to them and see if they want our help.
Perfect. Nice one, Craig.